Recording. Hello, this is November 18, 2019. I love these numbers, 11/18/2019. This is our advisory council meeting, and here we are. John's going to lead us into a brief attunement. We're always just a few breaths away, so here we are. John.
All right, very well. Great to be with this amazing group of people. So I think close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Knowing that that breath is the gift that we're given on planet Earth to sustain the physical being in order to receive the information from the resonant field. Take another breath. And just tune into the vibration moving through your body. With every breath, the flow of the universe is being gifted to us. Ambassadors and receivers and givers of the whole, coming together in honor of the great mystery, opening our hearts in order to serve, receive, and inform to complete the spiral of infinite love for ourselves and for the good of the whole. Let us bring through all of the guidance that is available to us for that task of sharing with the world in so need on planet Earth and beyond. And simply with another breath, allow that to ground in. And let us bring that highest potential in union with each other for the good of the whole. And gently bring that into our field, back into your spaces. That is the unified space that we share.
Aho.
Oh.
Aho. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Could you put it on pause for a minute? Take another big deep breath.
Shelley, I'm sorry, I must have missed it. The person on the phone, 219 number, who?
Oh, that's Linda. Linda.
Oh, that's Linda. Okay.
Linda Lou. That's the Lou of Linda. We've got Linda Lou.
Technologically challenged.
Yeah,
here.
her real name is Lala, just in case you really want to know. And so La's one La's got the phone.
There's a law there and a law here.
Lala.
Julie could rename that phone number Linda's name.
I could.
Yes, she could. Okay, let's rock on here. Okay.
Let's go. Let's rock.
So we're going to start today with the vision, mission, and purpose. Yay.
Hi, Henry.
Welcome, Henry. Perfect timing. Although you did miss John's incredible resonance. So you'll have to go back and listen because it was very exquisite. So just inviting everyone to take another breath as we just open this call with holding the space for this organization, and just going to read the vision and mission. So our vision is a world where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole. Our mission is to cultivate an ethos of wholeness and nurture our innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. Our purpose is to support and uplift individuals, groups, organizations, and initiatives that are living for the good of the whole. So again, just breathing with that and allowing that to just permeate the space here today as we come in together. So today, our focus is to take a little bit of time and go over that organizational structure, just as a review, very quickly and easily, for those who might not have had a chance to fully look at it. And Julie and I had a few little changes that we wanted just to mention, and we will send out the updated one. And then our fundraising plans, we were asked to consider some of the membership and benefits and features, and Glenn brought in the word ambassadors and talk more about that. And then also, just as a note, which we will come in at the end, is we have the mentoring steward call on Wednesday, and Julie came in and modeled that for us, and we are looking for one of us to show up and possibly do the same thing this week. And Glenn came in the week before, so yeah, just something to consider. So I'm going to pull up the, let's just see if it's here. Hold on. Thought I just had it. Where'd it go? Maybe it's already up. I'm going to try and share. Okay. Huh. What happened to that organization? I had it here. Nope, that's not it. Okay, hold on one second. Sorry.
I'm having a love affair with Henry's chair.
Oh.
Love the color of your chair and the color of your shirt.
Okay.
I want that. Mine's brown.
Okay, give me 1 second. I got to find what happened to this. Okay, got it. All right, got it. Okay. So, 1 second. So we just wanted to, maybe we can just, I don't want to read the whole thing, but I think just for us to kind of feel into this organizational structure that really has been developed and mostly developed by Julie, and to kind of feel into how this, how we're holding it for good of the whole. And one of the things that you see that we have this graphic, and so we talked today, and we can it's kind of tricky because we can't really go around the room kind of thing. So I guess I'll just kind of go through it, and then we can just open it up to everybody. But so the good of the whole leadership team, which is we've talked about this, that there is a board of directors that oversees the fiscal responsibilities and the reporting and the hiring of administrative support personnel. And just right now it's a couple of family members, Julie's family members, that are just holding the field for us until a later date. And so, sorry, shouldn't have been like this. So Julie and I were talking today, and so the good of the whole advisory council, which is who we are, And we are a development council, but we're just going to take off that name and just make it be Good of the Whole Advisory Council, to have it to be clear, and the graphic will be changed. And you know who we are. You can go read this. We're just really acting as a board of advisors and creating a coherent field of resonance where we're aligning really the voice of wholeness, cultivating this ethos of wholeness. And so we're working on everything from structure to form to fundraising, and just, again, just supporting this, that vision and mission and purpose. And then, as all of you know, there's the Residents Council for those ones who are really supporting the expansion of the ethos of wholeness through this experience of resonant and the resonant field. We meet monthly, but we're even talking about possibly doing a little bit more than that. And just so that you know, Henry and I are specifically working on creating documents that help clarify that Monday call and create a template for people to be able to create resonant circles. And so I'm excited about that. That's been really beautiful, and Henry's incredible. And we'll show that to you as soon as we get it to a place that we feel comfortable. So, and then we'll be also inviting the others who are in the Residents Council to take a look at that and gain their input on that once a month call. So we invite new people as well into the Resident Council who feel that this is their passion and purpose. But right now we're a beautiful consortium of sorts. So today, Julie and I clarified the next piece, which is we've changed the name to help it be more clear, which is the Good of the Whole Core Faculty Advisors. And the question we'll ask you guys is, how do you feel about core faculty advisors or core faculty field advisors? So we help to sort of make this a little more understandable. So the Good of the Whole core faculty advisors provide ongoing support, training, mentoring, guidance, and mission-driven mutual aid. Our core faculty advisors provide special benefits for our mentoring stewards and the transition team, so the global transition team, or whatever we're going to call it. And these people are like, people like Andrew Harvey, Charles Eisenstein, Jude Caravan, people who came, brought their voice into the retreat. We see these people are very excited about Good of the Whole, and they're really just waiting for us to land this, be able to come in and support us. So Julie, if you feel like you want to jump in at any point, just feel free. I'm just kind of running through this. So I'm not going to really go into reading all of this, but this next part is just describing the different aspects of the greater community. And this can be shifted up and changed. Right now it's so everyone can understand the mentoring stewards. We will be working on the evolutionary core, developing conscious creative leadership, which would be inclusive of the resident leadership, and wanting to build that. I'm personally excited about that as well. And really integrating and commingling more and understanding more the Global Heart Team, what its relationship to Good of the Whole is. And then, of course, the individual and organizational partners. So that's just the greater community. And this beautiful graphic is just the primary functions of the vital organs of this organism and organization. Pretty simple. And we're actually going to change vital functions to primary functions. Just going to get rid of that and do it right now. Because it was something that we were using that terminology way back with Barbara Marx Hubbard, and we just wanted to make it clarify it for people. So, and then we're also talking about just putting primary resident stewards instead of using the word custodian. And feel free to bring in your voice around it. I was really asking that we could get rid of the custodian and bring back the stewards, or if you haven't, another name for sure. So again, you can just read this hopefully you've read this on your own, but it's just describing the resident steward, that there would be a steward or part of this would be, some of this would be the administrative directors, coordinate, as an example, primary community mentorship, coordinates the whole community and works with the primary leaders of the Global Heart team and the member mentorship. So, I mean, I think these things are pretty, going through. So hopefully you brought it up and taken a look at it. And our advisory council, so again, we're just going to get rid of that, and includes the 12 primary functions and up to 12 other members at large, and eventually president and CEO. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but we wanted you to just, and I can move this if somebody, why don't we just open this up, and if somebody has a question or, we just wanted everyone to be on the same page and feel into this as a whole organization.
So just a quick question. You changed the word custodian to steward in one of the places, but custodian is throughout. So we're just assuming.
Yeah. So this was Julie and I got together today just to kind of go through it before we came on this call. So yeah, that'll all be changed, and we'll send out the new document. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else that has any questions are fine here, or pieces that you might think need to be added, or?
I like simplifying and clarifying for sure. The notion of the core faculty advisors, and having, and maybe I put in parens how often they meet, like monthly meetings, weekly meetings, whatever they might have. So yeah, it's okay for me for now, for where we are right now, knowing we're going to evolve.
Yeah. Julie, is there anything you want to add in terms of that whole document?
Just to remember, that's the vision of the mature organization. And it's a vision and a direction for us. And as we know about creating in the material realm, that we envision it and put the energy there, and the matter and form follows the energy. So here we are, putting that forward and kind of blessing and endorsing it as we speak. And it will change according to how things expand and evolve, obviously. So there's this beautiful, I just want to put this out there because I think it's a part of our work as an advisory council is with the physics. I love this. There was a video that I cannot find, and I am bound and determined to find it again, but it was time-lapsed Kirlian photography around a plant. And so the Kirlian photography is you can't hear me?
I think Linda needs to put your phone on mute. Is your phone on mute?
Okay. So the plant, and it is on this time lapsed, and what happens is the energy field of a leaf goes out and forms perfectly this energy field, and then the plant shoots and sprouts into the energy field. It's as simple as that. It's so beautiful. I've got to find that video again. But imagine this is what we're doing, is literally bringing forth this energy and saying, here's our mature organism, and we're moving into it. So then we're following the energy into form here. And so I don't know why that wanted to be present right now, but thank you. I think it's a beautiful vision for what we're doing, and knowing we can continue to move and tweak as we go forward. But that is the form and structure of the mature organism. So, Linda.
Thank you, Julie, for that vision. I just wanted to add this little personal note that that's exactly what Jody and I were doing when my daughter was giving birth on Saturday evening. Like right before that, we were in the waiting room. We thought we'd be right there with her, but it didn't work out that way. And literally, I was speaking of visualization as we were sending that energy around mama and baby, and how she was being born, and all the light that was in the room, and what was surrounding her, and what kind of world she was coming into. And when you said there's the leaf, and then so there's the the energy and the thought, and then the manifestation comes into it. So that was perfect. It was just, that's exactly what happened. And she was born, had to be, you know, right at that time that we were doing that. She was born at 8:36 in the evening, and it was pretty amazing. Yeah. So thanks. That is very true. The energy follows the thought, and then it's manifested.
So I just want to check with John or Henry. Anything else that you guys want to add or share or see needs to be tweaked or anything?
I'll pipe in here just for a minute. And I want to, it's not apologize, but just let you folks know of my level of ignorance when it comes to structure. I know what I feel in my heart, and I know what I'm learning, what I have to offer and receive. But as I go down that list of these different pieces of the organization, if I was coming into this totally new, I would go, holy crap, there's 25 different pieces of where do I fit into this? I don't understand all of this language. I don't understand, what does this all mean? And I've been in this a year, and I'm still saying, what does this all mean from the standpoint of, okay, I'm on the advisory council. I love that. That's good. But I fit in somewhere along those other pieces, but it's almost like I would like, thank God I have you people to help me go, where do I fit in this organism? I don't really get it. All these different, it's so many. And it's like, in my little construction organism, we have the owner and the site supervisor and the lead guy and some laborers. And so there must be a correlation in there somewhere for people, but it just seems a little, for me, because trust me, I'm fairly ignorant in a lot of ways. It seems quite confusing. And I know you've thought this through a lot as to these are all viable, important jobs cell jobs within the organism. And yet it's pretty overwhelming for a guy like me. So.
Well, I liked actually how you just put that. There's the owner, the site supervisor, leader, and laborer. And I mean, essentially, to me, it is that. I think it's coming out of, like for me, in understanding it's coming out of thinking about the organism. This is just for me, and Julie might say this differently. It's like, this is the organization. And in order for the organization to function, these are the vital functions: the heart, the liver, the cell. And so even just today, Julie and I just did a sweep over how to, what needs to be simplified and things that need to be moved. And so I think it's like for all of us, I just can. That it's just listening to how, because I think the major thing is that we're listening to how the field is wanting to bring this through. And from that place, yeah, we can call in people that are really good at this or good at nonprofits, or like Glenn's been researching nonprofits, right? And he can feed that information back to us. It may or may not be that piece that we're individually getting involved in. But the beauty is that, when you think about cells, they have their specific functioning, but they're moving in accordance to that greater, that response to the, we can say it here too, that response to the field. They're clustering because they feel that magnetic attraction, and they know what they need to do.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, I feel very fortunate that I didn't start off talking with, no offense, Linda, Henry, or Glenn, but I started off talking with Julie. And I say, I am totally in behind the resident field and good of the whole. Where do I fit in this organism? And so if someone were to come in on a Monday morning and go, wow, I love this, I feel the energy, where do I belong in this? I want to serve. who would they go to in order to get that information?
We would direct them to go to the Wednesday call. I mean, that's what the Wednesday call is, right?
Okay.
Right? So that's
That's
the
next movement.
well, right now, that's because that's, and if you've listened to what I say, except for today, I didn't, because we were running late, and I looked at who was on the call, and I didn't really need to, but, to plug into that public call on Wednesday, that first Wednesday public call, and then they can begin to feel into the greater community. And that's what we're, honestly, as advisory council right now, that's what we're building. We're building, this is like Legoland.
Well, let me speak to this in terms of contractors' terminology, okay? Because I think this is important. Number one, first remember, this is our future self. So you don't have to get lost in it right now. This is the future. When those different functions get turned on, it'll all make more sense. But right now you have this, it's like the house isn't even wired yet. So you're looking at all of these. But saying that, I spent a lifetime being on boards of nonprofits. It's just early on, I got asked to do that as a very young professional, and I worked for a nonprofit, and I was the director of a nonprofit. I don't know if you all know that, but I was the director of respite care and was the director of a nonprofit, reported to a board. Then I moved into a health system and a hospital setting and was a department director that had to report to the board as well as school board, as well as I can just go on to list and list and list. But saying that, what you're seeing that's very overwhelming is the mature organization. Think of it like this: when you say, here's the general contractor, here's his second-hand man, and here's all the laborers that are working under subcontractors. All of these functions that we're talking about literally are like subcontractors that have a role in building the house. It's the same thing as the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the endocrine system, we could go on and on with the body of the house. So these functions that we've listed will help the mature organization function smoothly. However, it is like all the different subcontractors. And once we get these different functions going, hopefully with a lot of volunteers that want to step up and, hey, I want to take care of the shared calendar. Maybe we won't even be on Nation Builder and we won't have a shared calendar, so that committee will go away. But those are the ones that we've identified from the very beginning, that as we become a mature organism, now think of the house that we're building is really like the toroidal field. So think about the movement of a torus that continues to go out into the world, coming back into that center or that mothership that we talked about, so that this information is, people come in and they charge their batteries, they get downloads, they've upgraded all their software, they go out into the world and they form and function and share and do the work, and then they come back in again and, hey, I got to charge my battery and fuel up, be nourished, upgrade my software again, okay, boom, and then I go back out into the world. So it's that toroidal field of that brings that value in and takes that value out to the world, and then the individuals are coming back in again to equip themselves to take that beauty and value and peace and healing and back out to the world. So that's the movement. And I don't know, I hope that's more helpful, John, that these are subcontractors. We're all working together and we haven't yet activated all of them. So you belong right here, right now. This is where you are. And we're really happy to have you here. And there's no need to go, holy cow, I got to learn all these. No, this is a mature organization that will be coming. This is not, don't get lost now. You're right here, right now.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. Get it. Henry. Oh, we can't hear you. Oh my gosh, can't hear Linda. Now we can't hear Henry. Isn't this interesting?
He usually has to just push a plug, put a plug in or something.
Mercury's in retrograde.
I got it.
Only
There you
for
go.
2 more
There you
days. 2 more days.
2 more days. Okay, Henry.
Okay, so just a small item rather than custodian or steward, I'd like to offer coordinator.
Hmm.
I guess at Dominer that they used that word, I was a little surprised, rather than the director of a certain school or part, they use coordinator. So I think coordinator is just more ease of transparency and understanding than either custodian or steward. So I offer that as a possibility.
Yeah, we actually have talked about that, and then what happened to that? That's good.
Thank you, Henry.
All right. Anything else? Oh, Linda's got her. Good thing you have that finger up, Linda. Otherwise.
As opposed to whichever.
Since I'm the coordinator. No, I'm kidding.
So I okay, on the first little, hold on, the little thingy here, where admin is in the middle, and there's really nothing that's written that says admin other than we're back here in the center. What exactly, who exactly, is that administrative person that we're trying to hire? Who's going to have to learn all of this? And know how to coordinate everything? Okay, so that person has not manifested yet. That's going to be one amazing person. Okay, that's what I wanted to know about admin.
Yeah. An administrative director would be better than an administrative assistant. I would love to hire, think about some of the organizations that, well, like think about a Steve Farrell of Humanities Team is acting as the, what does he call himself? The worldwide executive director is what he calls himself, the worldwide whatever. But think about that level of an administrator and more of a manager of details person. I know they're out there. We're going to find her and she's going to be amazing. So yeah, the administration. What I'd really love to put in the middle is the field and take the admin out and put it in another circle and shift how we look. But this is just an image for the organizational structure so you can see it, that they're holding everything together. So in the future, we would have the field being in there, informing and infusing and transmitting and receiving and all of that. So yeah, just for this sake of conversation, so we understand that administrator is touching everything right now and holding everything together, because we love her and she's amazing. And oh, just feel her right now. This is going to be amazing when she's here running our meetings and sending out the communications. And by the way, I did figure out how to send emails out through the Nation Builder site. It's very easy. They're not pretty ones, but we can do that, Shell. So anyway, that's that. Shelley.
I would kind of hate to be limiting to say that the administrative director is a she.
I feel her, but go ahead. She could be.
I mean,
she could be they. She could be they. What's the new term for not male or female is, yeah, no, it could be a man. It could be.
Well, I just think it's just someone who's incredibly balanced and can hold the field and has a really strong both divine masculine and feminine energy. I don't know. I just felt like it's important. So anyway, all right. So in terms of the other thing that we were going to talk about is the fundraising plans, and we had invited everyone to sort of share any inspiration around the membership benefits and features. But actually, Julie, I'm going to ask you to where do we really want to go with the fundraising plans today? Because just want to be.
Well, I thought it was on mute.
Anyway.
Let's see. we've been on 45 minutes. Is everybody good for another at least 15? If not, well, 15 is the 1 hour, and we'll just see where we go. I'd love to hear the challenge. The invitation was to say what would those benefits be and of membership. And I do want to bring it up because we invited you to participate in this, of what that would look like. And I would love to see what comes through you. I put a bunch of just kinds of benefits and features on that email, like, hey, a weekly lunch and learn for continuing education. If you're thinking about how we just described our core faculty advisors as Charles Eisenstein, Jude Curavan, if we think about those people coming on once a month to teach us something, or, there's a lot of different ways that we can look at benefits and features. I did want to respond that last night when Glenn mentioned, I don't know who, but they had a goal of 100,000 ambassadors for $5 a month, like 100,000. And I started to challenge our thinking a little bit, even Shelley and mine. I'll tell you a story. I was on a call last night with my daughter and son-in-law and our sick granddaughter in New Jersey, and he was asking me if I would come out. He was asking me, Julie, you got to meet Gail King. Next time you come out, I'm going to bring you, and you're going to meet Gail King. And we just sat down with Tom Hanks, and we did this interview. Julie, do you want to have Tom Hanks on your radio show? I'll see to it that you can get Tom Hanks. We just talked about the new movie, Mr. Rogers, that's coming out next. I think it's Thanksgiving, but he said this weekend, but I think it's next weekend because it's Thanksgiving. And this is how he works in the world, is with CBS. And so he said, so where are you at with the book, Julie? What's going on with the book? And I said, I'm not in promote the book mode at all. I'm in fundraising mode for Good of the Whole, so that it becomes regenerative and sustainable. And then once we hire an administrative assistant, then I can focus on promoting the book and doing a little book tour, because he was trying to arrange some book tour stuff. And he said, you need an administrative assistant. I said, I know. That's why we're doing fundraiser, so we can get an administrative assistant. So he said, what's your goal? And I said, well, in my mind, my goal is to raise 200,000, so we have at least a couple years of funds to support this administrative person. And so that's my goal. And he said, Julie, he asked me because he had a person in mind that he wanted to go talk to, and he was going to introduce me to, that is a potential donor. And he said, Julie, if you're coming to New York or LA to do fundraising, you need to be talking 2 million. And look, everybody shook their head. Yes. Look, everybody did that. I don't know if Linda did, but the guys were like, yeah, you need to be talking 2 million, not 200,000. And I said, I understand. I know where you're going with that. So, and there's a legitimacy to that. It's like when we put together really the long-term vision and what we would like to see, many of us want to get into schools. We want to create programming for children. We want the Pachamama pajamas up and going. I want some expanded media. It's like he's talking about Gail King. Let's bring Gail King on and let's do some shows and go sell them to some of the main networks. There's a lot we could do, and $2 million is pretty modest, actually. So I'm having this conversation with him, and Glenn says, hey, 100 million at $5 is not a bad idea. And it was like we had this conversation. It was about a year ago with the advisory council, maybe a year and a half ago, of what would it look like if we had 100,000 ambassador type people. What would it really look like if we said our goal is to train and equip 100,000 people? So when I hung up, I heard, and I just use these terms loosely, and Shelley and I kind of crafted them. So I want to bring this into, I heard 3 levels of membership. I heard the ambassador type. We're not into, like, let's don't label them right now, but the ambassador type which in Shelley and my conversation was like a mimetic translator. I love that term that came up. Instead of being an ambassador, it's really that mimetic translator that comes in that says, of course I'm living for the good of the whole, and I'm already out in the world doing it, and here's how I'm doing it. They're those ambassador type mimetic translator people. So if we had a goal of 100,000 ambassador type levels at $5, okay. And if we said we're going to do this by 2030, so here's 100,000 by 2030, 10% of that the first year would be that we're going to have 10,000 of them. That's still a really lofty goal. Okay. Then we have our mentoring stewards who get more of these benefits and features that hopefully your inspiration will bring forward some of those. But if you're imagining that our core faculty are coming in to do a weekly lunch and learn or a monthly happy hour or a whatever that is, that we have these benefits and features, that we will enroll 10,000 mentoring stewards. So we have 100,000 of that ambassador type. We have 10,000 mentoring stewards who are coming in and musing and masterminding and hearts mining, and we're more engaged at that mid-level. So maybe that is not a $15, maybe that's a $20 or $25. So we have that $5 that's real easy to give $5 a month. Because I love your mission, I support you. $5 a month is no big deal. I don't need to get on calls. I'm there for you, and I'm yeah. And then that 10,000 mentoring stewards, that means enrolling 1,000 a year. If we're looking at a 10-year goal, we're enrolling 1,000 people every year into the mentoring stewards level. And then that apprenticeship level, that global transition team, evolutionary core level. These are the apprenticeship that are coming in, and they're doing a year-long program, and we're literally doing the core curriculum, and they're equipped to go into organizations and schools and hospitals and clinics and state associations and the speaking circuit and that these are really trained with that core curriculum, doing this apprenticeship, practicing all these skills with us over a longer period of time, a year. Then we look at, so what came last night was like, okay, say 1,000, say there's 100,000 of that ambassador level, there's 10,000 of the mentoring steward level, and then there's 1,000 apprenticeships. And again, if we take 10%, we're only training 100 a year, which that feels really nice and doable. So that's what came through for me. I like to play with the Shelley and I were on the call, and I'm like, mimetic coders. They're like mimetic coders. They're like the mimetic transmitters out in the world. So with that, that kind of a structure to have a membership drive feels really easy to say, where do you see yourself? How do you want to be involved? What level do you want to come in and play? And so you have this $5, this maybe $25, and this more expensive level to really go deep. So with that, I would love to open this up to, instead of having 20 different levels, and anyone can pay more than the $5. They can give us a $100 donation every month just because they love us and not expect anything more. And that's beautiful and fine too. So with that, let us open it up. After we invited you all to say what are the benefits and features that would attract you and other members, we asked on Thursday, right at the end of our call. I asked again yesterday in an email. I'm just curious. Let's open it up. What are those benefits and features that are attractive, that are compelling, compelling is a Marian word that hasn't left me since she said, Julie, what is that mission, vision, goal feature that's so compelling that they have to be a part of it. And I love that word, compelling. With that, I'm complete, and let's open it up, Shelley. How's that?
A good breath would feel really good at this point. Well, I guess for me, I mean, so there's the larger umbrella, what you just described, in really quite a magnificent way, and but also in being able to feel it, it feels like it where that drive is locally held within each one of us is what you're asking. What is that? And I think that maybe just taking a breath with the larger whole and just allowing that to just to receive it, just to receive the information and the vibration of really the celebration and joy of what that would be like. That's how I feel like. I think one of the things that I've been experiencing lately is a conversation with Charlie Riverman about, instead of imagining it, it's like re-imaging. We're re-imaging this potential of this organism, and but where it has to sit is in our bodies. And so I think in relation to what John was bringing up, what is mine to do and what benefit. So to me, like what I ended up doing was just breaking down what you had written in your in the email, and just coming into just looking at it as individually, what is compelling for you? What would you love to do? And so to me, it's each one here expressing that for themselves. Wow, I love resonance. I want to be part of wow, if we're doing a membership drive, I would love to, teach and participate in a masterclass on resonance or whatever that is. So I just kind of broke it down and, just simply, what's your love? Is it a media lab? Is it, offering apprenticeship opportunities, or a daily resonance offering, or maybe, wow, I really love putting on events, and while you're doing the membership drive, I would love to put on a local event that works in accordance, and then we can, work with you. As an example, Marian had the monthly online happy hour. Maybe that's something as well. So some of these things, and we know that each one of you have passions. So, but in terms, we can just simply go right here, because this is what's going to have to happen even on a mentoring steward call. Hey, we're doing this fundraising. What do you see yourself? How do you see yourself engaging? Of course, we can ask them for videos. That's a bottom line experience. But, what is it that, I think, what is it that compels you? What do you see? Maybe you don't have the idea of how to make it happen, but maybe you have something that's oh my God, Julie, I forgot to show you the dream thing. So, okay, well, maybe that's one of them. I can show everybody. You forgot to ask me about that on the call, silly. Wow, that's funny. Anyway, so let's just open it up and don't, just take a breath. And is there something that or maybe it's something that you've experienced? Like John, you just went to a fundraiser, and maybe there was something there that happened that was really, really sparked you, and maybe it's something that we can't necessarily do that big grand idea, but maybe we can, and maybe we can bring it in another way. So I think it's that kind of a feeling that we're just wanting to open the field and see what the field is wanting to pop through here. So hopefully, I don't know if that's been helpful, but and I will show you something after this.
Yeah, and I think to think in terms of Shelley's talking about in terms of what kinds of things do you want to bring forward, but also if as you're a member, what would you like to see provided for you as well? So think of it in terms of receiving and giving. If I'm a member at one of these levels, what would attract me? So, okay, thank you. I'm complete. We're open for conversation.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I spent a little time on this. Julie, I think your list there that you posted or emailed was great. I need help with one thing. my mind got blocked here. The children, adults that have the extra chromosome, what is that disease called?
Is it like Down syndrome? Or are you okay?
So that's where I went. Shelley just said, I went to this fundraiser for Down syndrome. I was completely impressed. Now, it's been going on for a few years, but their format for fundraising, I don't see any reason why we can't start out with this. What they did was they enticed people here. They had Jamie Foxx, Quincy Jones, Laura Linney, the actress, Henry Winkler, and it was a kind of a black tie event. And there were 1,400 people that showed up, okay? Now, it's like I said, it's been going on for a few years, but there was a purpose, a direct purpose for this to support the health and welfare of Down syndrome people. So the people were putting their money toward something that was manifesting. Now, what we have is a concept, in a sense, for a lot of people. Yes, but do we have a product? No, we don't have we do have a product, but it's hard to put it into manifesting terms. However, what we do have is a global global crisis right now, where we are in separation and division, and we're crumbling as people, humaning the planet, and we need something to bring us together. Good of the whole is that organism that can do this. So what if indeed, and I can tell you, I was extremely impressed at our retreat when we had Alexander Lazarus, we had all of the other people that we came on. We could get Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton to tie into this process. You called it faculty advisors. There's a large population of conscious and semi-conscious people that follow these people. And if we were to have a fundraising event where we were able, even on, we brought these people in, was it on Zoom or however we brought them into our little intimate gathering, it brought me to tears. It brought all of us into the resonant field. If we gathered these people and said, we are creating a fundraising for the saving of our planet and of our lives, and here are these people that you're all familiar with to come in, and guess what? In this 3-hour period that I went to, and I contributed to it, they raised $1.2 million in 3 hours. Now, they had a couple of other processes that they used, but it was stunning, and they provided wonderful food and drinks and everything else. And yet what it was this resonant field around hopes and prayers and love giving to a disadvantaged group. Well, I feel like what we represent is a planetary disadvantaged group. And if people can get inspired by what we have to offer, we don't have to wait necessarily. Out of this, we could have the $5, $20, $50, $100 a month process, but also we could have thousands of dollars on an event that this group of people that we know and we follow and we share in the resonant field with were present. I know I could bring in 100 people, 500 people from my area, including your area and your area, into something of this nature. And let me tell you, I wore a nice coat and tie. I was with people women were dressed up in these gowns, and it was a gala event, and people that had tons of money got acknowledged by name, stood up, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 at a time, because they have the money to give to something that has a value. And I just believe that what we have is not only one segment of the population, it's the total population. Did I rant too much there?
No, thank you, John. I think I just want to I'll wrap it in a bow for you with my son-in-law, who's always said there'll never be a world of love when we were working on World of Love. And he is African American, and so he feels the pain of that racial divide and how it's not safe for him to go out on the street and how it's not safe.
Right.
And last night he said, "Oh my gosh." And he's been doing all these interviews and meeting with these celebrities, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, with the climate crisis and with the political thing and and he listed 2 or 3 other things. And he said, "I finally get it. We need good of the whole right now, Julie. We need it right now." And that's why the 2 million wasn't, the 200,000 was not enough. He's like, it's time. This is it. And he really got it in his body. So thank you, John, for saying that, like the Down syndrome and identifying what they're giving toward is really that transition that we're talking about of how do we gentle this transition for humanity right now. And that's one way to look at this. So thank you for that, John. I appreciate it. Love more. There you go. There's the cause to love more.
Yeah.
He had on his Love More shirt last night too, by the way, Linda. His long sleeve black Love More shirt when he was talking to me, not intentionally, but yeah. Glenn, sorry.
No, it's good. So I was on a call yesterday with Rinaldo Brudico. And you guys know Rinaldo? You know Rinaldo. And he started something called The Optimist. And I put my email into this thing, and I get every day, I get an email that's got 4 or 5 optimistic projects going on around the world. So they put together a team that's writing and condensing these ideas into projects and throwing them out and giving us some positive things to think about every morning. And I can send you guys a link if you like. And it's free. And if I want to become an ambassador, I can get access to even more projects if I pay $5 a month. And Ronaldo said something that I thought was pretty interesting, in that he says, you know, we're all it's not just in this together. These are our collaborators. You know, he sees himself and this team as a collaborator with all of us ambassadors to, you know, bring forth our gifts and our vibrations. And I think that's a lot of what we're doing here too. And Julie, you've probably interviewed Ronaldo and maybe know something about this group as well. But then I thought, well, it Good of the Whole seems like right now we have a free membership category where people cannot pay anything and can come to a Wednesday call and just participate. And so there's our free category. And then if we had an ambassador category at $5, which is, you know, like a throwaway money. I mean, that's just something people could do without even thinking about it. If we could come up with and say, well, if you're an ambassador, you get access to this other set of calls. In other words, you can come not only to the Wednesday calls, but you can come to something else, which might include our, you know, a resident council call, or the resident, whatever we call that. So you can come to that monthly call, and you can come to something else that we come up to, and you're going to hear about certain things. Then if we have, I guess the next category I thought about was steward. You've used the word mentoring steward, but wouldn't something less than that just be a steward? And I thought about, well, if we had a steward category, somebody becomes a steward of the earth, and we create some more things that stewards then can have access to, and we just double the amount. We go from 5 to 10. So that's not that's not a big amount of money, but looking at lesser amounts of money and more people having access. And what we really want is lots of people to have access and to, you know, create leverage, you know, in that way. And then the mentoring steward was kind of the next category I had. And when you're a mentoring steward, you get access to some other things that we have And I'm not sure exactly what those are, but maybe there's something else that we're going to invent that mentoring stewards can now get invited to. And a mentoring steward, I suggested they pay $20. So he goes 5, doubles to 10, doubles to 20, and there's your mentoring steward. And then the apprenticeship program that you talked about, Julie, looks to me like that would be a program that's a kind of advanced graduate school, or part of the university or whatever it is that we're coming up with. So in order to have access to the apprenticeship program, you need to be access to the apprenticeship program, which you pay for, and for individual programs and classes that one does. But you have to be a mentoring steward to be able to, or a steward that's growing into being a mentoring steward. It's like, well, where do these things fit in terms of people's self-perceptions of where we are in our growing cycle, so that there's a category here that fits me and says, oh, I want to take this, I want to go to this retreat that we're going to have, but in order to go to this retreat, I have to be a mentoring steward. Maybe this is a mentoring stewards retreat, so where we go and get our recharge battery. And anyway, so we create these categories of members, starting with free and moving up through ambassador, steward, or mentoring steward. Well, we create those names, and then we put into those categories differing distinctions in terms of levels of access and activities that we collaboratively create for those populations. Does that make any sense? So it's like, wow, I heard Ronaldo talking. I said, well, shoot, I can pay $5 and be an ambassador. That's not a big deal. Bang, I'm in. And so anyway, and part of it is, then we amplify. If you're a mentoring steward, then maybe that's where you get to bring a project to us, and you get amplified. You get a peer reviewed in a sense, and then amplified in a way that makes sense for the good of the whole. I don't know. I'm just again back in the brainstorm world here. So I'm just throwing that out there as a strategy.
You like that? This is what actually I'm hearing is. So I think this is. So what I'm hearing is like John's excitement is, like we all can be uplifting it, but your excitement is one thing. Glenn, where your attractor field is working with this, and I feel like. I think everything is really great. I look forward to hearing Linda and Henry as well, and myself, no.
John, I see this gala event that we could have it could be a virtual event. I mean, it could be by Zoom. In a way that hasn't been done. I mean, there could be a locality thing, but there could also be a Zoom thing, or it's an event maybe that, the Greg Braden comes on. And if you're a mentoring steward, you get access to this call with Greg once a month, or you get access to this call that somebody that Julie's interviewing once a month. But you don't get that unless you're paying, $20 a month. And that's the value that gets thrown into that membership category.
So I feel like it's two separate things, because you're talking about an ongoing membership, mentorship, apprenticeship program. What John's talking about is, there is something absolutely to a live event, giving, again, it's not one or the other.
Well, I think here's where the union of those two is the gala event is a draw. I mean, it's like part of the reason that I even went to this thing with my friends is because Jamie Foxx, who is a celebrity, was there, and I'll contribute, but were there all these headliners that were there, and I wanted to hear them. Out of that, though, then there was, at the end of it, exactly what Glenn is talking about, is ongoing membership to continued support of the Down Syndrome Society. and people also did that. Now, the other thing that they did was they had these wonderful things like they had this auction. You could get a week at a 5-star hotel in Mexico for 25 grand or whatever you wanted to offer. And they started the bidding at $20,000 and ended up being $75,000. So all these pieces with somebody that really knows what they're doing could do that. But Glenn is exactly right. The ongoing financial support has to go on beyond the fundraiser. And so I think the two are very much compatible.
Yeah.
The live event, this live event thing was it was fascinating. I'd never been anything like that.
So let's hear from Linda and Henry. Is anything popping for you guys?
So, yes. Let's see if they're able to hear me out this time. I feel like I'm still in the embryo stage, but I know what my potential is with Pachamama Pajamas. And I know there's a lot of networking and there's a lot of people and calls that are waiting. I am in grandma mode, so I'm doing that first. But at the same time, like this morning, you remember Kathy Sipple from Pachamama? We have something going now with doing climate change projects locally. I mean, right in my town, and that feels great because now I have like just a stepping stone. But I see Pachamama Pajamas again in a huge global form, and if people want to share their resources, they have to care. You can't share if you don't care. And so finding these projects and ideas that are good for the good of the whole that we keep promoting to get them to care. John cared to go because there were celebrities there and he cared to hear what they had to say. This is something that, it's really, hopefully, as far as that resonant, field of caring about our children and caring about making a world for them that where the environment is going to be safe. We have a lot of work to do ahead of us, and just thinking about a local program and trying to set policies with local government, it's like you have to start somewhere. So if anybody else is feeling in the embryo stage, just join me and we'll kind of grow together. But I just wanted to put that in the field because I know this is unfolding really beautifully. And so I'm just going to take a minute to share this. I found a little carving, a little statue of a mother holding her child, and there's a big quilt over them. It's like they're sitting in a rocking chair. And the quilt, it came to me that night that even thinking about producing pajamas is a massive undertaking to get the sizes. And I thought perhaps we could do a quilt a month, a quilt that a child or someone can stick their arms in, wrap themselves around. I can go into more detail of what I have experienced with that. So that there's a feeling of care. There's a feeling of this is not only good for this child, but it's good for all children. It's good for the whole planet. It's good for the caretakers. So this idea that's percolating is still percolating in making a quilt rather than pajamas. Even though it's called pajamas, there's so much. That could just be the name of, here's a book a month. Let's talk about the rivers. Let's talk about the oceans. Let's talk about the soil. Let's talk about regenerative plants that we make materials like hemp. Or it's endless. But you have to care. And that, I think, is what's pulling me. It's like, how do we get people to even care about the problems that we're facing? Yeah, we know we've got problems and we can get overwhelmed with them, but the only thing that moves us to action is if we really care about it. And there's so much to care about that I think every one of us can branch off and really bring in, our passion and bring this into the mentoring Stewards called, so that we're caring enough to take action to really make a difference that is for the good of the whole, people and the planet. So that's just what I wanted to toss into the mix here. Thanks.
I was texting you, Linda, that Kathy Sipple just seems like a natural, that we need to invite her in somehow to some of our calls. She's such a natural. So I'm just going to just drop that now. Thank you for that. Henry.
So 2 things to tie a thread about the caring that Linda mentioned. And also to say that Linda produced some wonderful videos for the different elements for the 7 days of rest, which were just very high quality. So just, just some way of doing that, maybe with different elements of the resonance process actually is coming to mind now. But, and also caring, where I was drawn with after receiving the kind of the agenda for today or being reminded of it was opening to values, opening to my values, which I suspect everyone here or most everyone has done something with values. And our values are the spark plugs of our being, whether it be caring, whether it be connection, whether it be service or something like that. So for me, so anything that helps, that we are doing that helps to animate what our individual values are, will really give us the energy, to always be aware of that. And then I was drawn to kind of opening to the organism of good of the whole and identifying what the values are, what the primary values, or Kathy Mason kind of does something of bringing one to the 3 primary values, but there may be 5 or more, of other values. So as we get in touch with, as we link to those spark plugs of the values, which links us to our emotion, which links us to our excitement, through which we get fed, then when we clarify that and the things that we do choose to do are intimately connected to that, and Shelley mentioned passion, so that's part of it. So that's where I was drawn. And one of my values that really came up was one of connection, kind of deep connection with others, deep connection with the planet, of finding ways which are resonance, which the spheres of wholeness, it's kind of honoring that within each of us that was brought through. So that's where I was drawn. I also felt a resonance, again, with Resonance Radio as being a vehicle, and I still don't know exactly what that means, but that being a doorway for the spark plugs, for the values of us, as we keep connecting and returning to that. Part of the values process is understanding what our values are, but also understanding which of our values have been neglected or haven't been honored. So, so for me, one of the main values is embodying and helping people to embody more fully who they are. I guess I'm getting a little lost now. So I'm not sure. I would almost like to be invited to be, because when I go to movement opportunities, dance movement, I call it movement because, that for me, that is a way of expressing our wholeness, of bringing into the body more fully who we are. And I see that kind of an integral part of when we do, kind of a full day event or something to invite people. If if we're heady, or even if we're hearty, we're in the heart of bringing it into the body in a simple way. So those are a little bit of the pieces, and maybe perhaps as well, doing an additional call. I was thinking about an evening thing a while ago for resonance. I'm not certain right now, and maybe it's the time of year that somebody on the resonance call mentioned that it's a little more time where we're going inward. But you could color that kind of a call towards that inward going and coming into resonance and into the deep connection of the oneness that that we are. So anyways, that's a few things that came up for me.
This is a great start for sure. The other thing was, for me, what was showing up was music. You have to have music in any event, and music is a driving force and allows people to feel the caring and the feeling that rhythm. And so whatever we're doing has to be included, music and the arts. So I just want to begin to look at, Julie, the time, because we're complete, we're pretty complete here. And just want to really thank everyone for just bubbling up these pieces and keep going with it. Just listen for what that next step would be. That's what I'm hearing, is just what would be of your contribution. What's the next step? So again, we can be connecting through emails. We can be connecting through the the Advisory Council Facebook page, but just to keep building this as we come back in again next week. I know for me, the other piece is I'm feeling so drawn, and I have no idea how this would look or how this would, maybe this is one of an idea. It's just like, I'm so drawn to the kids, the teenagers that are having trauma from all these shootings, and maybe that can be a focal point, for an event, and somehow, and come on, man, that is for the good of the whole. If we can bring wholeness to these teenagers that are feeling so been thinking about it, like, wow, my grandson's going to school every day, and I can't imagine. Either they're completely numb, and he might be, ignorant. He's not quite in high school. He's got one more next year. He goes into high school, but there's no safe place anymore, and there's so much mental health. So how could we channel? And I'm listening for this piece within myself, because it came in so strong last night. Just what can I do, or how can we, maybe have that as a focal point for something that's important. And who do you know as far as musicians? And so all of the things that, like Julie was saying, like all the things that are being shared here are viable and accessible. And, again, it's that sphere of wholeness, that sphere of influence that you have, begin to just make a list, because it really starts here. Like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, it starts right here. And just let it bubble up. It doesn't mean that you have to be the one to create the whole thing, but it means that you are the stewarding influence for through your heart, through your love, and we're going to support you to do that. So, anything else you want to add, Julie? And Henry. Just remember, we have a couple more minutes. Go ahead, Henry.
I just wanted to, because I'm exploring that, to also maybe take a minute or two in silence to harvest, to let what everybody shared today to kind of settle in before we close. And I'm okay with not doing that, but I like to try new things.
Okay. So
before you do that, Shell, I just want to affirm Henry for bringing in the values. Thank you. We have a page that's not active on the website now with shared values that I think it's off, but it's there, that we should go back and review that and say, what were those shared values that we set up 6 years ago, or whenever it was, 7 years ago, and review the shared values and pull a page up that that really just brings it out there and communicates it. So thank you for that. And go ahead, Shelley. Do you want to lead us in harvesting, or Henry? Yes.
Yeah, I want to throw one more thing in. It's like I see us having, I think, and what I see is two different things kind of going on. There's the activities and events that we can offer people, and there's the membership levels that qualify to get to go to those events. Two distinct things.
I agree.
And so the idea of having membership levels that give you access to value that justify the cost of the membership is, I think, is a critical piece for us to put into place, so that we're creating this compelling reason to be a member at this level. And so that's our opportunity, is for those compelling reasons. And it just struck me too that I think our purpose and our mission needs to be more simple than they are. The word ethos stuck out to me as being a ninth grade word, when we need a fourth grade word. Who we're talking to in terms of people that are coming to the free courses and being attracted to upgrading to becoming an ambassador.
I totally agree.
Okay, well, I'm going to add in one other piece about
Toss
this.
it out and put culture in there. Okay.
All right.
Hold on one second. Okay, so let's just breathe, and we're going to do a minute of silence. So the one thing that we did, Julie and I did talk about something, and I just wanted to let it infuse in the field, because this is really important. So speaking about values and energy and the expression of good of the whole, many of you didn't even get good of the whole to begin with, but there was that feeling. And so if we had simplified good of the whole, or made something, easy to understand, it wouldn't have been its own voice. And in terms of, ethos or anything else, I just really want to put this out, that there's nothing wrong to have something that someone has to actually reach out and be curious about and have to come and explore, that we don't want to give away. And this is a conversation Julie and I were having literally today, so it's so perfect, that we want to be really careful about even the word ambassadors. Well, everybody's using ambassadors, and or like, why are we changing mentorship to membership? Because yes, there's a lot of people that understand that, and to really, I think this will just go into the silence, but to really understand there is the nature of the organism itself that has a voice. And that, yes, I think it's a both and, so I'm not saying either one, but I want to just be really, like, we don't have to, like, conform to what people, can easily understand in certain levels. Like, as an example, Julie told that story about Will. Will didn't really get good of the whole, but when it clicked in more, look at the charge that came with that. So I just feel like that's something that I'm always really aware of, and just don't want to just conform to these it's not like we want to create woo-woo language by any means, but we also want to really honor the voice of the organism. And I had to go look up ethos. When I first started, we're like, ethos, okay. But as soon as I got it, it's like, oh my God, that is a word that we should be using. Yes, we can switch it for culture, and that's cool too. And I'll go any way that you guys want to go. But I just wanted to make sure that we are really honoring the voice of this organism that we have been holding for so long. And I think part of that is really also Julie and I, because we've been holding it for so long, just to let's just make sure, take a breath with it, ask the field, just let's not go with something that's super easy for someone as well. So I just wanted to talk about
one thing on that, please.
We're never going to end tonight.
I know we can't end yet. I would never want to get rid of ethos or the language that has been proposed, because it is primary to the message coming from the field through good of the whole. And other language may be appropriate depending on the population that we are reaching. Mm-hmm. And so that ethos is not going to hit it for some, but heartfelt message, the value message maybe that Henry was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
would. And so incorporating all of it somehow when we're targeting certain, I know this is old school, but targeting certain populations. And so who do we reach? How do we reach? It can come in many different forms.
Thank you. Yes, we're all in agreement for sure. Just the eternal whole hug. So let's just do an inner whole hug. Taking your breath. Henry, do you want to close us?
Sure.
Okay, so just keeping it, we just want to honor the time, but yeah, just bring us in.
So
Bring us home,
just
Henry.
breathing into this moment and all that has transpired here in our coming together. And just notice, see, sense, or feel where and how that is in your body, in your energy field, in your heart. And how all of it wants to settle in, to be absorbed in a way that lifts you and carries you to even deeper understanding and insight for the good of the whole. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, so we'll see you next Monday at this time, whatever this time was. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. Gratitude to the field and gratitude to each one of you for showing up and being present. And let's just keep our communications happening. And Linda, beautiful. Congratulations on your beautiful granddaughter. And there was one more thing. Okay, I know, Linda, you've got your granddaughter, but I don't know if you could at all show up on Wednesday for our call, but we'll talk. Or if anyone feels that they have, I don't know, the way you were talking today about caring, it all of a sudden it was just like, I don't know if Linda could show up, but it would be great if you would want to model even 20 minutes if you could show up. So just text me, we'll talk about it. And if not, we'll listen for who it might be.
And just one more thing, as far as the time we meet at Greenwich Joyful Time.
Greenwich. Woohoo! That's what we said. We don't do this unless it's
Aloha.
We don't do mean. We don't do mean. Aloha.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I appreciate you so much.
Bye-bye.
So much. Okay.